Can you ever get a lawyer for free?
You can get a lawyer for free. The first place I would tell people to look is for them to get to be able to make a telephone call. They could call the lawyer referral service. They tell them what area of law they're looking for. They will be referred for a 30-minute session with a lawyer, and then the lawyer can decide whether there's a case or not. At that point, then the lawyer also will tell the client whether he could represent, and if that's the case, the client could apply for a legal aid certificate, and the legal aid certificate would pay for the expenses of a lawyer in the private bar. When you guys call it's a free lawyer, it's a free lawyer.
Can I be asked by a security officer to leave a mall even when I did nothing wrong?
You can be asked by anybody who is in charge of private property to leave because they're the ones who can control what goes on it. But if they're asking you to leave a mall, for example, for reasons that you think are discriminatory, you can complain to the Ontario Human Rights Commission if you think that that's the reason.
Can enforcement trespass on my property without permission?
Go on your property, an enforcement officer, a police officer needs your permission or the permission of a judge, which is a search warrant, or exigent circumstances.
Are police officers allowed to tase innocent people?
No, they're not allowed to tase innocent people. They're only allowed to tase people if that level of force is reasonable in order for them to protect themselves or other people. Sometimes people with mental health problems are innocent, but they still can represent a threat. It's very rare, but in that circumstance, I guess you could say an innocent person is tased. But basically, only when people are posing a threat to the police officer or somebody else can they be tased.
What is the legal process to follow if you feel like you're being discriminated in your workplace?
If you feel that you've been discriminated in the workplace, you should first of all tell your manager, your boss, to try to see whether there's a conversation that could be had and what it is that you're feeling and what you believe the discrimination is. If it moves forward and you still believe that it is in fact discrimination, you can get some information at the Human Rights Help Center, and they are able to give you information about human rights and if it was in fact a discriminatory action that was taking place, and you can actually make an application with them and bring your case forward.
Can I get my money back for a service that I never used?
Getting your money back for a service that has never been used, that would be a consumer law question, and our government has different departments, one department being Department of Consumer Affairs. There are numbers that one can call where you would be able to get information about what service you purchased and whether it can be refunded. But what's really important is that you read your receipts to see what conditions you should be following based on the fact that you bought it in a certain way and that you signed off if you did, meaning that if you paid for it in a certain way, there's a signature, and it would all sort of play a part on whether the service can go back or not.
Can I sue my landlord for opening my mail?
The question has two areas of law in it, because you're talking about a landlord, which is a provincial piece of legislation, and then you're talking about opening mail. And opening mail is a federal, under federal jurisdiction, and it is a crime. And actually today we've learned that you can call the police if your mail is opened. If you also want to do something about your landlord having done that, it could be a harassment type of an issue, and it could go to the Landlord and Tenant Board as well if there's other things that also come under the guise of the landlord doing things to you that are wrong.
Can landlords have keys to your house?
Landlords would have keys to your house, and that's because they're responsible for the property. The landlords cannot use those keys to get in unless they give you notice, and there is proper notice that's given, and those are rules under the Landlord and Tenant Act. But the landlord can have the keys, and they're supposed to be trustworthy to hold on to those keys.